Hello everyone, and welcome to this edition of NASCAR Underdogs, presented by Splash and Go. So, today we're going to be covering an absolute legend from the Northeast Modified Series, who then brought himself and his Mr. Excitement moniker south to NASCAR. This man is Jimmy Spencer. Born Jimmy Peter Spencer on February 15th, 1957 in Berwick, Pennsylvania. He caught the racing bug early from both his dad, Ed, and his uncles, who also raced in the Northeast. In 1976, Jimmy was able to collect his first career win, or checkered flag if you will, at Port Royal Speedway. Then in 1979, he was able to go to Shangri-La Speedway, the modified division, and win Rookie of the Year. That's pretty dang good honors. Then, believe it or not, come the early 80s, you had Jimmy running very, very well. 1982 and 1983, he won back-to-back championships in the asphalt modified division. So, great improvement. In 85, turns out Jimmy Spencer was able to come south and make his debut in the Busch, what now is known as the Xfinity Series, at the historical Rockingham Speedway. He managed to finish 19th in his debut. Solid top 20. Now, in 1986 and 87, he came back northeast and he won back-to-back series titles, making him a champion. If you look back, for the last 6 years, he was a champion. So at that time, it's just in the modified series, the 80s was Jimmy Spencer's playground, and he played. In 87, turns out Spencer made another pair of Busch Series starts, but unfortunately, his race car couldn't keep it together either time. They both ended in DNF finishes. Finally, in 1988, Spencer was able to finally get a full-time ride in the Busch Series, driving the number 34 Quick Stop Beverage Buick to 5 top 5 finishes and 13 top 10s. He was able to finish inside the top 10 in his first full-time year in the points. 7th in Busch Series standings at the end of the year. But that team just wasn't able to stay together. And 89, Spencer had another solid season, scoring his first career series win at Hickory Motor Speedway. Now, altogether in 89, he won 3 times, leaving him with 4 top 5s and 11 top 10s. But due to both some mechanical issues and some driver errors, he was kind of yet somewhat new to the series. He just wasn't able to stay with that team. And so driving for Buddy Baker, Spencer qualified for 17 events in the Cup Series, driving the 88 Crisco car. But he wrecked out of 6 of them. Now, the 6 DNF finishes. That would leave Baker and Spencer, honestly, that would lead them to parting ways. So, at the conclusion of 1989, Spencer had 3 top 10 finishes, the best of which was 8th at Bristol. In 1990, new decade, a new team, a new start. That's still in the Cup Series. Jimmy Spencer, he got and found himself another ride from a former Cup Series champion owner, Rod Osterlund. You may remember Rod Osterlund for his former series fame with Dale Earnhardt back in 1980, when Dale Earnhardt was able to land his first ever Cup Series championship, his first of 7. So, 1990, he jumped in the Heinz number 57 car. It was number 57 to match the Heinz 57. Heinz 57 Pontiac. And the team was only able to qualify for 26 out of the 29 races. Netting 2 top 10 finishes. But they came in the first 3 races, for real. I mean, he, right out of the box, they weren't so bad. But the best of which was 8th at Rockingham. The team ended up finishing 24th in series standings. Another year, another ride, as will become a bit of a pattern for Spencer, who was really, until the latter part of his career, well, the middle part of his career, he was never in a ride longer than really a season or a season and a half. But another year, another ride. In 91, Spencer ended up hopping in the number 98 Banquet Foods Ford for Travis Carter Motorsports. Now, he was able to improve his amount of top 10s per season to 6, but Spencer still fell to 25th in standings. That due to having a lot, being plagued with DNF finishes. I mean, think of this, 12. They're only running like 29 races a season. So nearly half the races he didn't finish. And it was pretty rough. But now, 92, Spencer started the year in Cup behind the wheel of Travis Carter's number 98 Molly Black Ford. Molly Black Gold Ford. But, 10 races into the season, after the difficult 91 season that he had with Travis, after 10 races, the team already had missed 3, DNQ'd for 3 races, and basically running out of money, running out of sponsorship, and just everything going south, forced Travis Carter Motorsports to fold up their operation, at least for the time being, and which kind of left Jimmy Spencer without a ride for the time. Now, in the middle of finding another ride, he did hop in the Rob Moroso's number 20 in the Food City 500, and he was also sponsored by Food City at Bristol. Ended up finishing, I think, I want to say 20th? Something like that. But then, team tried to qualify for one more. And Jimmy actually ended up dropping down to the Busch Series, where he ended up driving the number 20, Daly's first Oldsmobile. Daly's first 8 Oldsmobile. There he landed 2 wins at the Myrtle Beach Speedway and Orange County Speedway. He did make a one-off start, like I said, in Moroso's Cup car at Bristol. Got 29th. He started 29th and finished, 20th, like I said. Now, the last 4 races is where things got really kind of cool for him. All right. Last 4 races, he jumps behind the wheel of number 12 car for Bobby Allison Motorsports, with Robestus Brakes as sponsor. All right, now, 3 out of the last 4 races, he ends up getting top 5s. I mean, they were on fire the last few races. That was incredible. I mean, with the best finish of like 3rd. The following year, due to these excellent results, of course, Bobby Allison signed him to drive that year. Well, they ended up landing Meineke Mufflers as a sponsor. And Spencer really, had a pretty good solid year. But like you will see here shortly, Bobby Allison Motorsports was always plagued with money problems, unfortunately. Now, his best run of the year was at Talladega, where he started and finished 2nd. Along with that, he had 4 of the top 5s and 9 top 10s en route to a 12th place series finish in point standings. Seeing at the time what seemed like a better opportunity to progress his career in 1994. With Bobby Allison searching for a sponsor, Jimmy decided to jump to Junior Johnson and Associates Motorsports to drive the number 27 McDonald's car. He was able to get his first career win in the summer race at Daytona, then the second win at Talladega. It is pretty much known, though, that there was something either in the carburetor or something along those lines that NASCAR couldn't find that made Spencer quite a bit faster on the super speedways that year. Then later in that year, North Wilkesboro, he landed his first ever career pole. Otherwise, the team could only muster 2 top 10s, and honestly, even DNQ'd the fall racing at Bristol. And I mean, Spencer was great at Bristol. Otherwise, yeah, the team ended up 29th in points. Very difficult year, disappointing season. So, the following year in 95, Spencer went ahead, and upon Junior Johnson selling his team to Brett Bodine, he moved back, Spencer did, to a freshly opened up and rebranded Travis Carter Motorsports with Smokin' Joe's on the car. Now, this is where I have to mention a really strange fact. Upon rejoining Travis Carter's team, Jimmy Spencer had now taken over for Hutz Strickland in completely 3 different separate teams. I had to mention it just because you never see something like that play out very often in the top level series of racing, but especially in this country. Now, I do have an interview scheduled with former NASCAR driver Hutz Strickland later this summer, so maybe we can get his input as to what the deal was, honestly. So yes, in 95, Jimmy reunited with Travis Carter, who, by the time, had gotten himself back together financially and was fielding the number 23 Smokin' Joe's car. Sadly, 95 got off to a rocky start. They missed the Daytona 500. Then they missed one other race that season, the 8th race of the year at Martinsville. Otherwise, he found 4 top 10s. Best finish is 6th in the season finale at Atlanta, ending the season 26th in points. 96 was sure to improve, right? Well, it was. It was better. There was no DNQs, 2 top 5s, and 9 top 10. Best finish of 4th at Michigan. That also, obviously, improved his point standings finish up to the 15th position. Now, 1997 became a bit of a downturn, leaving him with only 1 top 5 and 4 top 10 finishes, with the best finish of 5th at brand new at the time Auto Club California Speedway. But he also, due to the not quite netting as good of results on the year overall, did drop into 20th in series standings. Now this would be the final year that Smokin' Joe's would be on the car. It's a paint scheme, with Winston Noble coming on as sponsor in 98. The team got off to an awesome start. At the end of race 3, which was Las Vegas, the team sat 4th in points. Unfortunately, Jimmy Spencer had suffered some injuries in the Brickyard 400, and he had to set out a couple races. Also during the season, Jimmy Spencer had formed his own Busch Series team, the number 12 Zippo-sponsored Chevrolet, that ran in the Busch Series for himself. For said Steve Grissom, and a couple races for Rick Mast. The team also did expand to 2 cars in 1999, fielding the number 12 and the number 5 Schneider's National sponsored Chevy for Dick Trickle. Then in 2000, Jimmy moved his team to Cup Series to run a couple road courses with Boris Said and the number 23 Federated Auto Parts Ford. After conclusion of the season, the team ceased operations. In 1999, his last season with Winston Noble as sponsor, they had a best start of 5th at Sonoma and a best finish of 2nd in that legendary race where Dale Earnhardt Sr. spun Terry Labonte. And then in the post-race victory lane, said, "I wasn't trying to spin him, but I was trying to rattle his cage, though." I think we all have at least seen a replay of that, if we don't remember it as we were kids. But en route to 2 top 5s and 4 top 10s, he ended up 20th in final series standings again in 98, or in 2099. 2000, Winston left the team, Kmart came on board. Spencer changed his number from 23 to 26 And Darrell Waltrip came on as a teammate in the number 66 car. Darrell had a horrendous final year. And, I mean, it was really bad. I think he had a best finish of 11th once. And that was like one of his only top 20s. He only had like 2 top 20s. And he did have a best start of his outside pole in that same race, the Brickyard 400 of second. So, it's a sad year. Sad sending off for Darrell. But, the lone bright spot, like I said, was Indy. Spencer ended up with 2 top 5s and a pair of 5th place finishes, both at Homestead and Talladega. He also had 5 top 10s, along on his way to a 22nd place final series standing finish points. At the conclusion of the year, Darrell Waltrip, like I said, retired. 2001, Spencer and the team was back for another season, alongside new teammate Todd Bodine, replacing Darrell Waltrip in the Blue Light Special Kmart Ford, number 66. Jimmy had a solid year, netting 3 top 5s and 8 top 10s, with the best finish of a pair of 4th place runs at Loudon and Darlington. Spencer also won the pole for the 8th annual Brickyard 400, ending the year 16th in series standings. Next, in 2002, seeing the handwriting on the wall, basically, with sponsor Kmart filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, Spencer went and found himself a new ride. Unfortunately, it was with a team that was just getting off their feet themselves. They missed their first race attempt in the Daytona 500. Then one more later that season at Watkins Glen. Other than that, he had an alright year, really, pulling down 2 top 5s, including a 2nd place finish at Bristol, and 6 top 10s. Due to the 2 DNFs, though, he was relegated to a 27th place points finish. But, I gotta say, so, as far as everything that there was kind of the Chip Ganassi racing, he went to the number 41 in 2002, right? Well, that was kind of playing second fiddle to Evernham when Dodge came back into the sport. And really, I mean, they were all, CGR was behind the number 40 Silver Bullet of Sterling Marlin. The number 41 Target Dodge just wasn't quite, it was never the most important team. So far as everything this man did, I mean, he went in 2003 and had to switch teams again to James Smith's number 7 Sirius Satellite Radio's Dodge. Due to an altercation with Kurt Busch the week prior, he was forced by NASCAR to set out the Bristol fall race. But he was able to collect 1 top 5, a 4th at Charlotte, and 4 top 10s, ending the year 29th in points. In 2004, he ran the Daytona 500 for Jimmy Smith. Then they parted ways. At race 7 in Texas, he started driving the number 4 for Morgan McClure, with the best run of 17th at Dover. From here in Cup, he would only make a few starts for low-end teams. In 2005, he dropped to the Truck Series and had a 2nd at Daytona, 3 top 5s and 9 top 10s, with a 12th in points. In Cup, he ran Don Arnold's number 50 for 9 races, the best finish at 21st at Bristol. In 2006, he ran his final 2 Cup races, both at Pocono, for Don Arnold's number 50, both in a best finish at 32nd. Now, after his racing career, he worked as a full-time analyst on the Speed Channel for NASCAR Race Day, NASCAR Victory Lane. Became known for his hilarious yet sometimes annoying segments, for his crying towel, segments. So far as everything this man has did at the highest levels of NASCAR, he honestly was never able to connect with the right team, the right time, the right sponsor. There's a saying, timing is everything. And it is. Timing never really lined up for him. For instance, the Junior Johnson deal. Right when he was ready to leave the sport, right at that time, here comes Jimmy Spencer. You know, his time with Bobby Allison was cut short due to lack of sponsorship. Then his time with Travis Carter was only ever so due to the fact he was never the lead team on Ford as the OEM. He was never the lead team as Orange Roush at that time. So, you know, he was always playing second fiddle with CGR, with Dodge, to Evernham. So that's basically the deal with Jimmy Spencer. And if you guys would, leave down in the comments how do you guys feel about Jimmy Spencer, different parts of his career, or just Jimmy Spencer as a whole. If you would, please like this episode. And like usual, and like always, we need your support. Please subscribe to the channel. This has been NASCAR Underdogs, presented by Splash and Go. Take care, guys. But first, to conclude this episode. Now, some people have either come to understand Jimmy Spencer or they haven't. And, for instance, Dale Jr. He recently had Spencer on his Dale Jr. download. His podcast, more or less. And this is the reason. He basically wanted to hash out the comments that Spencer made in 2001 and after the summer race at Daytona when Dale Jr. ended up winning. Okay, and it was right after Senior passed away. And, I mean, Jr. passed several cars in the final laps. And this is the first time back at the track since Senior passed away. And Michael Waltrip ended up, I believe, right behind him in second. But I do know that Jimmy Spencer was making some kind of comments pertaining to cheating or NASCAR let him win or something. And they discussed that. But I think they got that hashed out now, which is great. Also, unfortunately, we're talking about loss, as far as Dale Sr., Jimmy Spencer also really encountered a bad loss too with his sister, Chrissy Spencer. She passed away on January 9th, 2010 after a long, strenuous battle with ovarian cancer. And my heart goes out to all the families that I just discussed. And I'm sorry for your losses. And turns out that Jimmy was really, really cut deep by this. He was close to his sister, Chrissy. And turns out that after this, he more or less just sold what racing equipment he had left, and he just made the decision to quit racing. Quit chasing checkered flags and breathing exhaust fumes, selling off his equipment, transferring to a normal life of life patterns and breathing a sigh of relief. He still has some people that he loves around him. Mr. Excitement, Jimmy Spencer. For all his years in racing, he ran 478 Cup races, 212 Xfinity races, and 31 Truck Series races. Altogether, that puts him at 721 races across the board. He also is one of only, a select number of drivers that has completed the trifecta, if you will. And the trifecta being landing a win in all three series. He was able to do that. Xfinity, honestly, was his best, most steady success. But he won two times in 1994 in the number 27 at Daytona and Talladega in Cup Series. McDonald's number 27 for Junior Johnson. That was his only 2 Cup Series wins. Then he found 12 wins in Xfinity at the time Busch Series. Then over the years, he found his one and only truck win, 31 starts. And that came in his second start at Loudon. Not to mention the championships in modified in 86 and 87, and at Shaker Lie Speedway, track championships in 82 and 83. making him, honestly, a champion of some sort 4 out of 6 years and from the time of 82 to 87. It's impressive, guys. Really impressive. And, but then in NASCAR, you just never got to that level, like we said earlier. You just never had the right people, the right sponsor at the right time. But, you know, like everything, you needed to line up, and it didn't. But again, thank you guys for watching this episode, this extra long edition of NASCAR Underdogs, presented by Splash and Go. If you would, please subscribe to the channel. We need the support. This has been a wonderful, wonderful episode. You guys, till next time.